Hey there, Slimesters and Gackoids, Manny here. What you're about to see is a video montage of our Patreon content from Season 2. If you like what you see, join our Patreon and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every one of you play a part in helping our channel grow. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the show.
Baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
On your mark. Get set.
Oh, here it goes.
Welcome to Splat Attack, where we're taking it back to the Slimefield past.
Brett, I see somebody there with you.
This is my girlfriend, Monica.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hi. This is my lovely wife, Megan.
Love is a many splendored thing. Oh, yeah.
I remember watching Boy Meets World. The main love story is Corey and Topanga.
No, it's not. Corey and Sean.
Sorry?
No, it's not. It's Corey and Sean.
Yeah, I mean, some people could argue that. Of course, they were 16 years old when Topanga's family had to move away to Pittsburgh. Season 4, episode 17, A Long Walk to Pittsburgh. It's that scene where like Corey's like all heartbroken, and finally he gets over her and he's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to go to Pittsburgh. I'm not going to be an idiot who shows up and she rejects me. And he opens the door and she's standing there like soaking in the rain. And she's like, Corey, I ran away from my home to like follow you. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I think it's the only relationship where it was such a big deal when the characters got married. At the end of one of the episodes, they invited the audience to come to their quote unquote wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
90s had a lot of damsel in distress moments. Tiger, who was the biggest pussycat ever, the dude was a constant coward at all time. In part 2, he had a love interest in Miss Kitty. He just pines for her and loves her, and the whole movie, she says, why can't you be more like a dog? But really, it's get some backbone. Don't be such a pussycat. Tiger trying to find his courage, but can't. Miss Kitty becomes in danger. And then he loses his mind and actually barks like a dog. And I remember when I saw that in the theater, I cackled. It was one of those gleeful, oh, he's going to get him. Get him. I thought that was so cool as a 5-year-old. And now I'm 36. And whenever I still think of romantic, even though that wasn't a romantic moment, it still was a romantic gesture of protecting someone that you love. I think that was the first instance that I really recall seeing something like that.
I've actually never seen the whole movie through.
The most macho Dom DeLuise has ever been. I love the first one, but I love the second one more than the first one because that was actually the first one I saw.
Definitely one of my favorite moments from the movie.
Moments.
Anyway, what I was going to say was,
yes,
I was trying to say, but you keep rudely interrupting me.
Moments.
For the character, thankfully, I was never pranked like she was and got egged in the movie. But I felt for her. I felt I could relate to her in a way. But I'm glad she was able to get the moment she deserved there at the moment in the movie. And I thought him coming down and running out there, it was just one of my favorite moments.
You know who else was an undercover reporter? Corey and Sean.
I don't know what it is. I'm like genuinely embarrassed sometimes, like when I see guys trying to dress up in girls' clothing and they're uncomfortable, and I don't know what it is. But you think I'd be used to it because we have so many friends in our theater group who do drag. So it's like, you think I could just handle it. And I've seen Rocky Horror so many times. I've seen so many people in stilettos and fishnets. So you'd think I'd be used to it, but I don't know. Yeah. Something about that episode always just kind of made me go, oh my gosh.
It was really cute to me back then. It actually stood out to me now because I have a dog. His name is not Spunky, but just like Spunky, he actually is in love with this towel. Like, he goes crazy. Like every time it rains and I have to like dry him off when he comes in. Anytime I bring out that towel, he will just go nuts. Like he'll like do circles. He'll like rub his head up against like the towel.
So who are you going to be facing off against this episode?
Well, let's bring him in from the cornfield. We got our straw man contender, the Burning Man himself, Jordy Durden.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm here to, fight for what I love, and I'm fighting for Goosebumps.
We're going to make popcorn out of you when I'm done. Things are going to get heated real quick. You're defending...
Don't get me stalking.
other than that, our basic rules are we want a good, clean fight, no insults, no swearing, just arguments presented with evidence with supported claims. I know we had quite a bit of interrupting when RJ and I kept rambling on about phone police and how Annie is a wizard or whatever. But
She's a witch. She's a witch.
A sorceress, a warlockus, whatever.
A warlockus.
Yeah, that was a fun one, but we thank RJ for his time, and that's probably the last time I'm going to talk about phone police.
Are You Afraid of the Dark episode aired before the Goosebumps episode, but the Goosebumps book was written before the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode.
So it's like a chicken versus the egg situation, huh?
Exactly.
Who stole from who?
So if you go off the book, the characters have way more depth. And, you know, you're not limited by the acting, obviously, of the child actors. It has to stop here. Like, who knows what happened? Somebody died, assumedly. But it's like, it took so long for him. And it could be because maybe he's, like, slower, or maybe, you know, because he's crazy, that he doesn't, like, come to a moral response quicker. But at the same time, why is he laughing maniacally at the end? That's just a little bit suspicious. Like, what are you about to do?
It's kind of like the Joker. He's very hard to predict. And I also find it interesting that he's only like present at Old Man Earlstead's farm. He doesn't leave that interior location at all. He's just there.
He's a ghost. He's the ghost.
Maybe. There are many kids who just don't understand how to use black magic properly in Are You Afraid of the Dark. Take Weeds from Super Specs, for example. I mean, he just throws that monkey bone dust powder everywhere. He can like cover a surface, and he just creates a lot of chaos after he leaves. So I think that's just due to I see you sprinkling it there, Alex, but at least you're being careful with it. You're not just like, let's just get it in everyone's eyes or within like arm shot.
Achoo! Oh,
yeah, right.
Sorry to get there. I'm sorry.
That's just a given for Are You Afraid of the Dark kids. They're a little bit careless, but that helps advance the plot.
One take, throw it. That's how it goes. I got it in someone's eyes. Oh, well.
I'm so excited about this.
Oh, really? Why is that?
We get to talk about one of my absolute favorite things ever. Ever. And it was a moderate success.
That's my background.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, I'm having
and that
pointing
is
issues.
Actually, James Bond is one of those classic movie franchises. It has stood the test of time since the 60s.
I thought it was pretty cool seeing all the different gadgets and just seeing how suave he was with the ladies, and you know, just being up all these interesting looking bad guys that had unusual names. I didn't really scratch the surface any deeper than that experience. I've seen a few others like Casino Royale in the 2000s, and bits of like the Sean Connery and I think Roger Moore videos.
Yes. None of my family were into the franchise, so I had to experience all of this on my own. There was a full page ad in the comic book of 15 Days of 007, and it had listed all the movies that they were going to be playing. So quickly I got the TV guide and, okay, is this still going on? How long is this going on? It's going on for 2 weeks. No, it's going on for 3 weeks. It's going all through December. Okay, and I went and got all my VHS tapes and started programming the VCR to record all these different movies because I wanted to watch them. I absolutely fell in love with this franchise from those two movies. And I will openly admit, if you've not seen these movies, James Bond fans will tell you these are two of the worst entries in the entire franchise.
Really?
They are cheesy. They are not well written. But I fell in love with them at its worst. And it only got better from there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure James Bond isn't walking around in a Hawaiian shirt, kind of like Miami Vice.
He does.
Really?
He does. In the movie Die Another Day, he does walk around in a Hawaiian shirt.
Wow. Okay. Well, I stand corrected.
But most of the time, you are correct. And at that time, he was not a secret agent at that.
Was he on vacation?
No, he quit. James Bond always got caught and always found a way to get out of the situation with some ridiculous fancy. And then huge explosion, Bond saves the day. And that's pretty much your basic formula. And that actually is not James Bond, or not Sean Connery. That's actually Maurice Bender who did the opening title sequence, but they eventually got Sean Connery to do it. I'm very I have no idea what we're talking about here, Brett.
Really? How could you not know? It's Angry Beavers.
This guy was going around as Powdered Toast Man.
Really?
And he had the build for it. I mean, it was his body, and he had just painted, but I mean, he had the muscles for it, and then a padded underwear and shoes, and
he even had the flat toast for a head too.
Oh yes, Norbert just hates it, and I remembered. I felt so bad for Norbert every single time, especially with this episode. Oh, please don't embarrass me! Please don't embarrass me! Please don't embarrass me! Because I've been Daggett, and I would go out of the way to embarrass people. And I love the voice for particularly Norbert. I love the Baron Bad Beaver. The
Very
muscular
sophisticated.
Beaver. The muscular beaver is great, and I love how the two are not only opposites in personality within their main characters, but I also love that the superhero personas were also very opposite.
Have no fear. I have many powers of vision. I shall render these fish powerless with my fantastic Fish-O-Vision. Water creatures cannot resist the magnetic pull of my all-powerful ogling.
With the muscular beaver being very, almost like the Tick.
Yes.
This big,
very obnoxious, grandiose,
yes,
ostentatious, all that good stuff. Some of the character animation does seem unevenly paced for me, and that may be just because, like, you know, things tend to be rough in earlier seasons than later seasons. But I still found it charming enough, so it's not too distracting. Other than that, it's just super goofy and refreshing.
And I also loved the comics at the beginning.
Yes, can't forget that, because that's where he draws his inspiration from.
I loved the design for it. I really miss that style of animation.
Yeah,
both in comics and in cartoons.
It reminds me of Jack Kirby's work, who did the Spider-Man comics.
Yes,
like very bright, very graphic, thick, heavy lines, and dynamic poses. So it's a great nod to comic book history with that style, and how like the camera just pans to the different panels as if we're reading it with Daggett in the beginning. Muscular Beaver! Though there are many trials and tribulations through the ordeal, Norbert learns the joy of becoming a superhero, even turning a new leaf from Baron Bad Beaver to Baron once bad, now good Beaver.
I don't care for the fact that it's no longer imagination, it's now reality. Right. And they really thought Daggett was a superhero. But I did love that Norbert was, no, he's just an idiot beaver. he has no superpowers. And then they didn't believe him. I also loved how absurd this monster is. It's just a giant splinter. But I really did love the comedic timing of the two scientists. The way they could never get anything right, the way they were always almost on the with the facts, and then, you know what, never mind, and then we'll go to something else. I love that there were Viewmasters to check out the slideshow and things like that. And there was Timon and Pumbaa, the show. The end of the episode, they would have a musical song, or they would just have a song that they would do a cover of, and one of them was Stand By Me. And every single time Timon sang Stand By Me, Pumbaa was in the background, and something terrible would happen to him. Stand by me, stand by me. I don't think I like this song. Every single time. And with the amount of times they say Stand By Me in the song, so many bad things happen to Pumbaa. And I thought of that the entire time I was watching this episode.
Happy birthday, Brett.
We loved Power Rangers. We were obsessed. Pink and yellow, obviously. And white.
And I was into blue and green mostly.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I obviously, because I was little, I didn't pick up on this, but the Red Power Ranger, he just did like a few poses like ha hoo ha 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 ha, and you know, said a few phrases like it's morphin' time and stay in school, kids. And when I've actually revisited this photo a few times, when I look at it, I didn't realize the Red Ranger the Red Ranger really needs to lose a few pounds because he does not look like in shape that he did on TV. Like, he's the strong one. He's got bulging muscles for like a 16, 17, 18-year-old. This guy, I remember ceramic
Whatever.
chairs we used to spin around on and get dizzy. Do you remember that at all? When we got like our chicken nuggets, we went outside and we just like spun around like this
I don't know.
merry-go-round
I don't
thing.
think so. I was probably too little, but
Oh, sorry. I'm confusing that with the
I try to
Burger
block
King.
the fast food memories out of my mind. Okay, so I'm really digging
Yeah.
here.
I hear you. Yeah, I know, because you're a health nut now.
That
Do you
is
think
true.
you'll either of you will ever do a Nickelodeon themed birthday at some point for your children?
If either of them get into it, absolutely. Right now, it's James Bond's superheroes and Scooby-Doo.
No, Scooby-Doo.
One of the things about Hey Dude is they usually took a lot of the sitcom tropes and then would just keep doing them over and over and over, because that's all it was. Danny, on the other hand, this was his birthday was coming up, and he was being very, very subtle.
When's your birthday? Do you know?
Oh, no, I don't. Why?
Oh, it's just nice to know when people's birthdays are. When's yours?
Mine's in September.
That's nice. Say, Ted, when's your birthday?
Oh, mine's in March, Danny.
That's great. Birthdays are a wonderful thing, aren't they?
Well, I think they're kind of lame.
Oh.
Hey, when's your birthday? Oh, when's your birthday? How about you? When's your birthday?
I feel like Danny needs like someone making a bunch of noise with like giant cue cards or something, saying like, "Hey, ask Danny about his birthday." Angelica's little bit like acting like a baby, like asking her dad for milk with the bottle, like,
Oh, I know. Like, never. He scolded her
ridiculous.
so bad after that.
Yeah,
I was like, good,
yeah.
you tell her off. She was always a brat. I mean, I like knew
So why'd you like her so much?
growing up, and I'm like, no, I didn't like her. I didn't.
It seemed like you looked up to her.
No, she was crazy.
You
I knew
love
she
to
was
hate her.
wrong. I knew she was wrong. She's the villain. Like,
Yeah.
obviously.
2 words. Dog food.
I am your tubular co-host, Alex.
Crumb, I didn't expect to see you here today. What are we doing?
Special guest appearance.
We're here to talk about Our Real Monsters, the Great Waves. So
We're going to be above water.
Yes, we're going to stay above water on our surfboards, and we're going to ride this out to the end. So hold on to your...
Going to be on our surfboards and our ironing boards.
Yes, hold on to your boards. I was going to say butts, but that's not going to help you. You're going to just sink to the bottom if you go without a surfboard.
I do want to say my favorite bit in this was when the Grumble threatened that if anyone is caught drooling, they will be immediately ejected from the premises. And then they're cut to one monster who's instantly drooling and then, like an ejector seat, took off. So there was another one of those dark moments, and I just loved it. It reminds me of something out of Hotel Transylvania or the Addams Family.
Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that anyone caught drooling in the no slime section will be promptly ejected from the stadium. Whoa!
Very appropriate. Yeah, I love little moments like that. It's just like when you're really sucked into like the competition of the episode, it's like the little lighthearted moments that are just purely silly and off kilter, like reel you back to make, remind you that this is a cartoon and we're having fun here. Ickis begins training at once, starting with ear push-ups somewhere in the dump. However, our pesky fly friend from before shows up to bother our underdog hero, causing him to fall flat on his face, and later triggers a dragon-like monster to roar at Ickis, who is using his tail for jump rope. As if that weren't enough, the fly returns while Ickis is using a mattress spring to increase his arm strength, only to be catapulted by its compressed energy right out of the scene. With persistence, Ickis masters his push-ups and finally eats the fly upon meditating atop the highest mound at the dump in front of an enormous full moon.
I am a sucker for a sports montage.
Me too.
It could be the most terrible sports movie. You throw a sports movie montage in it, it is instantly my favorite moment.
I mean, Rocky started the whole trend, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I was going to say that exact same thing. But I don't really recall, because we've seen this trope, the storyline, a lot of times in cartoons of the 90s. I'm pretty sure they still do them today. But I don't really recall a lot of training montages because you've only got 11 minutes to get your story in and they want to hit all these beats. I'm sure there are. I just don't remember any. But going back and watching this episode, I love the creativity that they put in there with the ears and then the dragon's tail. But the sitting down with the chopsticks is pure Karate Kid reference. And I was loving that. I loved the Are You Afraid of the Dark? I love the All Real Monsters twist to that stereotype. So that was fun.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it makes you realize just how strong Ickis's ears are. Like,
yes.
I mean, I can't do that with my ears.
The thing that I liked the most, what in the hell is the Great Wave? How is there a weather anomaly that happens the same time every year? Is there a group of monsters who are going to be making this wave in some way? I spent chunks of time like this where they're just sitting down and talking and there's no humor going on. The part where they're in the filter and they're arguing, I'm still sitting there. I'm not paying attention to you now.
Like, you're wondering where the Great Wave is coming from, essentially?
Yes, I want to know how they're going to make this Great Wave, because they haven't said at all. How do you know that there's going to be this big wave that comes through at the same time every year? It's bugging me. And then they cut to the Super Bowl. Whoever came up with that idea is pure brilliance.
Yes.
That was such a clever idea, and it was so funny. And it took so little to convey that. You didn't need a big explanation at the beginning. It just, they knew it was going to happen. What is it? What is it? What is it? And then the payoff of this moment, that is the highlight of the episode for me. That was hysterical.
The cherry on top for me of that joke is particularly when the announcer from the Super Bowl says, "And now the Super Bowl halftime show where we see those dancing wacky raisins."
Yes. Yes.
Simultaneous flushing all around the world, or at least in that city.
What is that, Squirty? There's a tidal wave coming?
Will you drain the slime tank for us, please?
Aye, co-captain. Don't forget your half of the trophy. We don't want to lose it on the way home.
Oh, I got it right here. I'm not going to lose it in any sewage water. You can count on that. I'm going to actually mount it in my bathroom too, just to remind me of this episode. It'll be in the shelf right above, so I think of it every time I flush. Splat you later.
Bye, guys.
Reprise the theme song and roll the credits.
Hard to believe, folks, but it's time to say goodbye.
Nighty-night. What'll we do till then?
Chill for a couple. We'll be back.
It's time for the superhero to move on.
I declare this meeting of the Midnight Society closed.
Bye-bye.
Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. Rocco. Mrs. Bighead?